It's just fantastic.
Hello, this one's interesting. Up until this point, I had been hearing rumbles of a creator not quite doing what they claimed they were doing, not living up to the standard that they themselves set, giving off the facade of a savior complex, a god complex, an untouchable complex. If by chance they're under 5'5", also a Napoleon complex. But we had to wait. We had to wait because the patient game is vastly more important. I still didn't know up until today, so the 19th of January, who the creator was beyond the name doing its rounds on Twitter, repeatedly seeing them trending, and people saying that this, and this was happening all at once, and this, and this being many different things, which is why we had to wait. We had to wait because we needed to know for certain which one was the most accurate accusation, allegation against the YouTuber MamamaX, who is showing some colours right now. These colours make them look a little bit like a bitch. Bit of sausage, you know? The kind that dishes out, makes assertions, gaslights, and accomplishes nothing at the same time. If you build a reputation off of calling out people, but calling out a certain group of people of the more predatory kind, and not a single one of those individuals ever gets arrested, you provide fake evidence against those aforementioned predatory types. You lie to bolster your credibility, and you farm the victims for Patreon income. Chances are you might be a bit of a grifter. You're not just a sausage, you're a con artist sausage. Those remarks were taken from a tweet from Nick Diorio, who has finally made a return to YouTube with a video on MamamaX, including a leaked call. I'm going to link that down below. I am not going to play it here. That would be very disrespectful to Nick Diorio. You should watch his video. On this channel, we do call out people who make mistakes. We also cover crimes. I have multiple times addressed those that do sting operations. And if there is a conclusion, I cover it. If there isn't, it's a missed opportunity, because if they're proven to have committed a crime, you would surely think the activism would lead to them doing some time. Turns out it's 50-50, and the vigilantism part doesn't really yield that much in the way of a positive outcome, which means it can be argued to be ineffective. At time of recording, MamamaX is a YouTube channel with 723,000 subscribers. They have lost, since this has begun, about 33,000. They have been doing quite poorly of late. And to be honest, I don't understand how they managed to get that many subscribers in the first place. Their views are, let's face it, utterly piss poor for the size of their channel. There are a few moments though in June of 2023 and April 2021 where they deleted 10 million views, both times. But their views are horrendous. They as a creator are not the most active. This could be because they make lengthier videos, or because they've streamed a few times on their YouTube channel. To be honest, it's because they've not been active for a long time. They really haven't been. So understandably, as time has progressed, with them doing many different types of documentary videos of, crimes we can't really actually name if I want to get monetized on YouTube, it's understandable they're not going to make as much content because that is their style of content they produce. If you make an entire career out of this genre, of course, your ability to be active is limited, but it's also quite a dark area as a content creator. I don't personally understand how anyone can do it, but then I mentioned inactivity, didn't I? Do I need to pull up Nick Diorio's tweet again? Faked evidence against those who are more predatory. This is a big accusation to levy at any creator. It's why many of us cite our sources. Some now put them within Google Docs and link that instead, in a pinned comment under their video or in the description if YouTube don't want to flag it for a change. In this area, it's a lot harder to put that together and for it to stack up to scrutiny because you are dealing with legitimate crime. If it's an ongoing crime, I don't think it should be in video form unless you're putting it together to unlist it and give it to the police as a concise form of documentation. It's a very tricky area to navigate. I make it a point within the halls of injustice only to cover crimes where the person has gone, the perp has gone to prison, because it is a conclusion. I don't want to cover something ongoing in case they're found innocent. I don't want to cover something ongoing in case it has already failed obvious hurdles within the criminal justice system. This is where MamamaX has completely undone any credibility they had and also poisoned the well for other creators in this genre. Of course, that's not the main problem. The main problem is the victims not getting any definitive resolutions and it potentially harming them as they seek to try and get justice for what was done against them, which Mamamax has been found to have exploited and lied to them to, and let's quote the word, help, when in reality, help was entirely for themselves. Especially when lying, because now you have poisoned the well and the police and any other legal official that's involved in any ongoing case has to go out of their way now to try and find the actual fact that you may well have tarnished with nonsense. Anyone else would call that perverting the course of justice. It's what I want to call it anyway, because it does come across as that. It can certainly be interpreted as that. Many creators respected Mamamax. I had heard the name, but again, I don't really frequent these circles of crime because I don't like them. Ongoing cases with little in the way of resolution, I don't want to be a part of. But I do have a Halls of Injustice YouTube channel with all the crime stuff on there if you want to go follow. Many within commentary though, many creators in commentary held Mamamax in high regard, were friends with Mamamax, and they feel like they've been thrown under the bus as well. We'll get to some of that in a moment as well. So Mamamax addressed this in a video called I Place Accountability in My Own Hands. At time of recording, it has 972 upvotes and 11,000 downvotes, 85,000 views, nearly 4,000 comments. With the top comment underneath, now you need concrete evidence as a quote. Yeah bro, you do. Let's go look at this video and see what Mamamax has to say for themselves.
So, I just completed a 30-minute video called Silencing All Survivors that addresses pretty much everything. It addresses criticisms. It addresses my approach. It includes apologies. It includes a call to action on Camden. A little bit of information about everything. Like
this video that Mamamax is referencing is not on their channel. I wonder why. Could it be that that video was a load of bollocks? Or perhaps was missing some vitally important and key information? I'm inclined to believe the former is the more accurate summation of this situation. There's no point starting a video titled I Place Accountability in My Own Hands to then bleat on about how you have covered this already. You are trying to make it seem like you've done your part, but now have to do it again so people understand. It's very patronizing, don't you think? For the sake of what you're about to say next, that might be the most poignant bit of your entire video. But I understand when you make a video you take your time because you want to collect your thoughts and ensure that what you say is not misconstrued in any way. Although I've often found silence itself contains quite important messages. For example, this silence is you saying, I'm full of it. It, missing S and H.
But I showed it to some trusted friends and the survivors. Some people loved it. Some people had a few criticisms, and then some people hated it and told me not to upload it. I've got people telling me just talk about the case and nothing else. I've got people telling me just address the criticisms. I've got people telling me just apologize.
I'll be honest, the first thing you should do is apologize. It has been conclusively proven by Nick Diorio and a few others that you have deceived in a way. And I'll be honest, that deception costs those involved. You fabricated stuff. That, for the sake of integrity, is not allowed. It's not passable. It's not something that can be indulged. It cannot be ignored either, and you cannot be given a pass. You must be held accountable. Those that saw your video were right to offer criticism where it needed to exist. I'm glad some liked it though, because your ego needs that kind of attention.
I feel like I'm being pulled in every which way, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot make everyone happy.
Based on what you've made a career out of, I don't think that's something you've ever wanted to do in the first place.
I'm trying to prioritize the survivors over myself, but then where do I put like the general public in that priority list?
I am not the arbiter of what a priority in this context should be. However, I do personally believe your priority is to admit where you were wrong, undo the damage you did, which in turn harms the survivors that you have used in your career.
I feel like I'm in an impossible position where I just can't seem to do the right thing. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I can't make all of you happy. I'm sorry to Charlie for dragging him into a case that is not necessarily his fight.
Here's the problem with investigative journalism on YouTube. Unless you're actually involving the law, the police, all you're doing is drumming up drama. There's no way anyone thinks those that you cover are truly innocent, just to be clear. But when you falsify what you're covering, when you do not present honestly and then hide behind the term conducting a thorough investigation, all you're trying to do is appeal to authority. Fallacies like that don't float with anyone with an IQ over 1.
I'm sorry to my audience who don't even know what the heck is going on. Like I'm uploading shorts, I'm doing live streams, I'm doing weird ass videos. Just trying to find the remaining survivors of Camden Gerard Davis. That has always been the goal for this awareness campaign.
Here are the Cliff's Notes to the context. Camden Gerard Davis is a cult leader. Essentially, Camden Gerard Davis is not an innocent man. They believe they were a vampire. MamamaX changed their YouTube channel name for a time to God Cult. When the changes were made to the YouTube channel, they linked at the bottom to a YouTuber called Auntie Spencer who had done a 4-hour podcast called You Can't Hurt Me. It is quite lengthy and there's a lot going on. It was poorly promoted on the part of MamamaX, but it exists. I'll link it down below if you want to listen to 4 hours worth. It's quite harrowing stuff and Camden does not look good. And of course the word allegedly has to exist here somewhere. MamamaX did a call to arms, call to action like they've done in the past, calling out YouTube for defending certain PDF files by calling out Moist Critical in a video that was changed. The audio of which sounds like somebody trying to give a Jigsaw-esque I want to play a game. It also, without all the context, which is very strange of MamamaX, came across as really weird. MamamaX was then accused by Lyrics of weaponizing their audience in a call to action.
I guess talk to you because my main critique for you, I guess, is that in your most recent video where it was a direct call to action, like calling out Moist Critical, it came across as like really manipulative, and that you were kind of, I guess, weaponizing your audience in a sense to then kind of get them to be forced to respond to you.
But also begging the crap out of Charlie to get Moist Critical involved by info dumping literally everything they had and using language that can be considered a form of professionalism and guilt trip. Now that first interaction didn't go down very well. It didn't go down very well because I don't think Lyrics was as prepared as they could have been. So they came back and they had everything prepared for an electric boogaloo.
I wanted to ask because after our call, you did something I found was pretty egregious, where you started to direct your chat to tell them to go reach out to the mom and to the brother to find out information about Camden. Is that's true, right?
I guess so.
I think that sets a horrible standard because, to my knowledge, you don't have any proof that they're even involved, right? You can't prove either of that, correct?
Correct.
And
Currently.
I think if you involve them, you're just, you're involving them, you're getting them harassment, you're directing your whole audience to them, where, you know what's gonna happen. You know the implication that comes there. You're trying to call out this guy for being a pedophile, and you're sending thousands of people to harass them. I think that sets a horrible standard when it's someone that you can't even prove is guilty.
You're talking about Camden.
No, I'm talking about the mother and brother being culpable. You can't prove that they're culpable to blame. They're just family members to the guy. So why do they have to get It's like, what if your brother did some horrible crimes and then people start harassing you because of something your brother did? You're justifiably so. You'd be like, what the f***? I have nothing to do with this, but now I'm getting phone calls. I'm getting my shit blown up.
If I had a family member that was a and I had people blowing me up about it, would it annoy me? Yes. But is it worth my attention? Yes. I think the lives that are at stake are worth, people calling them about it.
So you feel like the ends justify the means?
In that same conversation, MamamaX shows they do not understand the concept of doxing. They do not understand the concept of harassment. Because if you direct your audience to go and target one person for any reason, it can be regarded as harassment. If you reveal the name of somebody who is not given their name, who is not involved in something, under the guise of, but I'm doing the right thing, you are still doxing an individual. In this case, Camden's mother, which was later conceded as a dox by MamamaX because they agreed that with a name you can find an address. It's why personal information has the word personal in it. One on the internet should choose whether they want to give that information willingly, and not simply have it taken from them to be displayed by others as a form of capturing a demon. He then finished by trying to play the bigger picture of, I think it's justifiable because of, won't someone please think of the children? Now that is a very guilt trip laden argument, and it's weak as well. There is no proof, none at all, that the mother has anything to do with what her son has been doing, allegedly been doing. Therefore, this white knight masquerade can only be seen as disingenuous and bullying. Where everything turns upside down for MamamaX is the accusation of being a PDF file laid at the feet of Magnetar, an accusation based allegedly on victim and testimony from his own sister. We know this because of a statement from Magnetar, who had said, in August 2022, as a way to deflect accusations against him from former friends and girlfriends, Max retaliated against me by labeling me that word. He said I was a predator with multiple victims based on nothing but anonymous, unverified messages from an alleged victim and testimony from his own sister. My life turned upside down. His accusation against me was viewed nearly 1 million times and led to thousands of people to flood my accounts, both YouTube and personal. As you can see, it led to some rather nasty fallout for him, friends, co-workers and fans, because MamamaX weaponizes their very popularity. They finished by saying, funny enough, in this same stream that he made these claims, he was also absolutely obliterated by his audience and other content creators for a laundry list of things he had been effing up for years. The extent of his issues are still being dug through, but falsifying things in his content, lying and generally being untrustworthy and unhinged are just some ways we can now verifiably describe him. This led to more people digging into what MamamaX has been doing, and this is where people found where he had been lying. It is not helped by the fact that this entire campaign of awareness about Camden Gerard Davis has yet to even be shown. It's been going on since October and we've not even got a resolution. No proof, no nothing. Just bits here and there, some weird content. Odd videos with QR codes that link to DM messages between MamamaX and alleged victims. This is how poorly handled this is. It almost treats the entire situation, if it's real, as nothing more than a pantomime. A joke where clowns in masks, putting on crappy deep voices, try and act as if this is the most important thing in the world, but prove nothing to give it any solidity, veracity, instead reducing this all to comedy, something supported by Muta, who was close to MamamaX in fact, and ended up getting threatened with legal action for calling MamamaX out for it. Now in the context of the timeline, that actually ended up leading to the apology video, which I've shown you some clips of. I'm going to show you some more of that now.
But you can't just tell your story anymore. Now you need concrete evidence. Now you need to go to law enforcement multiple times. Now you need to consult with lawyers. Like, we can't just listen to survivors when they're screaming for help. And that's why I've been taking all of these creative, experimental approaches to try to bolster their voice. Not only can they be heard, but they can be seen and they can be addressed. So instead of addressing all the random rumors that people make up and responding to criticism, talking about the wrongdoings of other influencers, I'm just going to take accountability for my actions and correct them starting now.
Throughout this entire video, I alluded to the fact and outright stated MamamaX had deceived in some manner. And that is because of an interview with Nick Diorio in that video that I won't play, out of respect for Nick Diorio's video that you should watch, along with Muta's video as well, released in conjunction. Both very good. MamamaX admitted elements of the videos released over their time on YouTube are falsified in a kayfabe style for effect. The investigations are real though, it's the presentation style that isn't, which really doesn't help Mamamax in the slightest when it comes to one key word involved in investigations. It's another one beginning with I and ending with integrity. Quote, I didn't think they would think my content is real. Bitch, you were calling YouTube out for defending PDFs. You were doing that. And what, you didn't think anyone believed your content was real? Millions believed you. Hundreds of thousands subscribed to you because they believed it. They didn't think you were some kind of WWE promo channel.